In this video, I want to talk about how to factor using the graphing calculator. So, of course, we can always graph this equation here on the graphing calculator, but if we wanted to use the AC method to factor, remember that this is ax squared plus bx, oops, I forgot my x, plus c. And if we're going to use the AC method, then we have A is 7 times C, which is 10, gives us 70. So we want factors of 70, and that can be really tedious to start listing them. 1 times 70, and then you would continue like that. Remember that you want B equals 37. You want a sum of 37. So you could start adding them together. 71, that didn't work. But another way to use the graphing calculator to help you factor is to clear out anything you have. You're starting in your y equals button. So click y equals and clear out any equations that you have. And then what you would do is you would take your AC, which is 70, and you're going to divide it by x. So you're going to write y equals, this is the number that we get that we want to factor, and we're taking 70 divided by x. And on the second line, you can put the same thing, 70 divided by x, and remember we're getting that from the AC, okay? And then you would add x. And what this is going to do is it's going to take all the numbers of x and divide them into 70. And then on the second line, it's going to take those same numbers that you get, the factors, and then it's going to add the two factors together. So if we go plus x. Now we don't want to graph this. If you press graph, you're going to see a strange shape, and that means nothing to you. What you want is the table of values. So remember that everything in blue is controlled by the second key. So if I go second table, let it think about it for a second. Okay, then I get a table of values. What this is doing is it's taking 70 and it's dividing it by -5. So it gives you -5 times -14 is 70, and then it takes the two factors and adds them together. -5 plus -14 is -19. Now, because of the signs, you might notice that you want two positive numbers. So if we scroll down to our positives, here's the 1 times 70 that adds to 71. On the second line, you see 2 times 35, and there's the sum, which is 37. So I'm just continuing my table down. And this is the magic pair. Okay, now from there, you would be splitting the middle using the AC method, 7x squared plus 2x plus 35 x plus 10. So notice that the 2x and the 35x add to the 37x. That's how we know we found the right combination. Then from here, we're going to do the AC method by grouping the four terms into pairs of 2, looking for the greatest common factor. The greatest common factor here is x, and so x comes out. We have 7x plus 2. Greatest common factor here is 5, so we get plus 5. And 5 goes into 35 7 times, so we have 7x. 5 goes into 10 2 times. And so that's our matching binomial factor, 7x plus 2. We would factor that out and be left with x plus 5. While I'm here, I might as well show, a friend of mine showed me this awesome way of factoring. You're still using the AC method, but you're using this idea of a box. So we know that we are going to start with the first term, 7x squared goes here, and the last term, 10, goes here. And then because of this magic pair that we found, the factor pair that multiplied to 70, added to 37, we would put 2x here and 35x here, because that's splitting again that 37x up into two numbers. And then notice how this is exactly the same. I want to look for the GCF of these two terms, and that's x. And then I go down below. What's the GCF of these two terms? Is 5, and it's going to be positive. We slide this way. If I look for the GCF of these two numbers, that's 7 and x. The GCF of these two numbers is a positive 2. And look at that, 7x plus 2, and here's your x plus 5. Okay, so that's using the graphing calculator to help you come up with a list of factors. Maybe let's try one more, and I'll just explain a little bit how I come up with this. So let's say I want to do one with the AC method. So let's say I start with 3x squared, and I know my last term is going to be 4. Well, remember that with the AC method, I'm multiplying these two numbers. In fact, actually, maybe I should make it a negative. So negative 4, minus 4. So that AC is 3 times negative 4, which is negative 12. Now, in my mind, I could think about all of the different factors of negative 12. Negative 3 and 4, negative 6 and 2, negative 12 and 1. And, you know, I can be changing the signs around as well. So I'm just going to pick this one. This is my negative 4. If I add them together. So I'm looking for a sum of negative 4x. I'm just showing you basically how I came up with this. So the equation is the polynomial is 3x squared minus 4x minus 4. Okay, so this is what we're going to want to factor. I already kind of showed you how I came up with that middle term, and so you know what the magic pair is because the sum is negative 4. But let me just pretend that we don't know any of this and we're coming to this problem and we want to factor it. So let's say we have this problem. We do the AC method. A times C is negative 12, and we're looking for a sum of negative 4. So if I wanted to use my calculator again to list the factors, I would go to y equals, I would clear out anything I have using the clear button, and then I would take my negative 12 divided by x, negative 12 divided by x plus x. So I have two lines, y equals, y equals. So we have negative 12 divided by x and negative 12 divided by x plus x. And then I want to see the table, so to get to the table, I go second table, and then I'm looking for two numbers. Remember, these are my factors. You see them here. I had already listed them, you know, but maybe with different signs. So I'm looking for a negative 4 to be the sum. And you see right here, 2 and negative 6. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. 2 plus negative 6 is negative 4. And why don't I just show that box method one more time? So if I'm doing this box method of the AC method, I'm going to put my first term, 3x squared, my last term down here, and then my 2 that break down the middle. So negative 6x and 2x would give me the negative 6x plus 2x gives me that middle term. So once I have that all set up, and it literally does not matter which order you put these ones in, okay, now you're going to be sliding left. What is the greatest common factor? 3x. What is the greatest common factor here? 2. What is the greatest common factor between these two is x. And here, since it starts with a negative, we would factor out a negative, so that would be negative 2. Okay, so that means my factor pairs are, since this is positive, 3x plus 2 times x minus 2. And if I FOIL that out, if I want to check to see if that really works, I go 3x times x, that's 3x squared. 3x times 2, that's negative 6x. Here's my positive 2x. And last is negative 4. So I have 3x squared minus 4x minus 4. If I simplify, and the only reason why I'm checking this by FOIL, okay, is so that I can see that I did get the same answer I got back. And actually, why don't I just show really quick how you might multiply it using this box method, because that's where this idea of factoring comes from. So if this is the same thing. If I say 3x plus 2 and x minus 2, I want to give that a negative. The way I'm foiling using a box by just saying, what's 3x times x is 3x squared. What's 2 times x? There's your 2x. What's 3x times negative 2? Negative 6x. And what's 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So here again are my like terms, 3x squared minus 4x minus 4. So that's factoring using the graphing calculator.